In a world that never stops changing, leaders who can bend, break. The strongest leaders aren't the ones who stand still, unbreakable, unmoving. They're the ones who adapt to their current situation. They move through life with a purpose for themselves and their team. Just think of the greatest leaders that you know and you've studied. They adjust, they adapt, and they respond to the circumstances that are given to them. Just like this water in this waterfall right now, going through the stream and ending in the pond.
Water will always find a way how to get through an obstacle. It may take it 1,000, 10,000, or even hundreds of thousands of years, but eventually it will go through. An adaptable leader, just like this water here, will always overcome the issues and challenges that they're facing. Whereas the unbreakable leader will almost always break and crumble under the challenges that are deemed a little bit more difficult than what they're used to.
In this video, I'll explain the 6 steps I take to ensure that I stay flexible and adaptable as a leader. The first step is that I embrace change. Change is a constant throughout our lives, and especially if you're a leader. If you're a leader, change is going to be happening almost on a daily basis. You can't change it. The only thing you can do is embrace it. See it as a challenge. See it as an opportunity to grow yourself and others around you. I don't view change as a threat, but as an opportunity to improve myself and to improve others around me so that we can adapt and overcome any of the challenges and issues that we're facing. Step 2 is that I stay open to new ideas. I encourage feedback from my subordinates, my peers, and my superiors. What I could do better, what they see in me, or how could I improve. Next, I always want to make sure that I listen to people around me, to their feedback, to their ideas, to their reservations or thoughts, or any issues that they have. I always want to make sure that I listen to them and that I also hear them, that they feel heard. I also always remain curious. I'm going to be curious about the people around me, about their personal lives, their ideas, pretty much everything that's going to enable me to stay adaptive, flexible, and to also show people that I actually do care for them. Most of the time when I'm leading teams, my best conversations with my subordinates and my peers don't actually come with meetings, but they actually come during lunchtime, during our break time, coffee time. And during those talks, we actually get the best ideas out of us, the best solutions, and the best paths forward on how can we actually do our project, our work better. A great example of an adaptable and flexible leader is Reed Hastings, the co-founder and CEO of Netflix. If you're as old as I am, you're still going to be able to remember that Netflix started first as a DVD rental. So you order a movie or a series online and they actually shipped you a single DVD. And when you actually watched it, you shipped it back. And at that time, the biggest competitor to Netflix was Blockbuster. They had a bunch of stores and they were renting out DVDs as well as Netflix. With Reed Hastings being a flexible and adaptive leader, he soon found out and understood that renting out DVDs was not the future. Being on the internet was. So Netflix started the transformation from being a DVD company to being an online streaming service. And Blockbuster didn't do that. Blockbuster, on the other hand, didn't want to change, since around 13% of their revenue came actually from late fees. And when somebody at Blockbuster actually suggested that they should actually become an online streaming service, just like Netflix was transitioning to, they were actually shut down with the answer that 13% of their revenues come from late fees. And with online services, they wouldn't be able to charge those late fees. Blockbuster went bankrupt, whereas Netflix is now the biggest streaming giant that there is, apart from YouTube, of course. But what Netflix did next is actually also revolutionary. For a long time, Netflix was only a streaming service that was actually buying the rights for the movies, series, and giving them to the wider audience for a monthly fee. But then Netflix actually saw another opportunity, and again, they were adaptable and flexible, and they started filming their own movies, their own series. And nowadays you have a lot of movies and series that are made from Netflix and you can only stream them there, which is kind of their competitive advantage. They've been pushing so much money into improving their services, and not only English-made movies and series, but throughout the world. Some of the best series and movies are actually foreign-made, but they were made specifically for Netflix by Netflix. And with the Netflix example, you can see how Reed Hastings introduced flexibility and adaptability to the whole Netflix organization, to the whole team, that they always stay in front of their competition. They adapt to the market environment, the market demands, and they succeed. The next step that I always do is lead by example. If I embrace change, if I want people to be adaptable and flexible, I need to be adaptable and flexible. And I need to show people that. If I have some challenges, issues, problems, or even struggles, I'm going to tell my team, hey, I'm having this issue. I'm having this challenge. How can we fix it? How can we solve it? This in turn is going to allow the people around me to actually be a lot more proactive, to be adaptive, to think out of the box, and they're also going to be comfortable with sharing their ideas, their thoughts. If I were a stiff leader, that I wouldn't be embracing flexibility, adaptability, and change, people would not come to me and say, hey, these are my ideas, because I would definitely not be willing to accept them. The other thing about leading by example is you show your team how it's done, how you do it. And you also show them that adaptability and flexibility doesn't mean just one size fits all. Everybody can be adaptive, everybody can be flexible in their own way. And that's the amazingness of having a team. And with leading by example, I'm also perfectly comfortable with actually changing roles, somebody else taking charge and me just following them if they're better suited for this role. The next step that I do is I always invest in continuous learning for myself and my team. So for myself, I always have a long-term learning plan. What do I want to achieve in 5 years, in 3 years, in 1 year, or in the next 5 to 6 months? So right now, one of my long-term objectives is that I want to learn Portuguese. The reason behind this is I want to eventually move to Portugal and actually be able to speak to the local population there. So this is my long-term objective. So my short-term objectives are I want to learn as much about leadership as I can. So in the past year, I've gotten my coaching with neuroscience certification and also my brain coaching certification. And I'm continuing this with understanding how neuroscience and specifically the brain interacts with our whole body and how it actually applies to us being leaders. When it comes to my team, I always insist that we have a personal development plan for them, whether the personal development plan is focusing on how they want to improve themselves professionally or just personally. I really don't care. I always encourage this learning, even though it may nothing to have to do with the skills that are required for their job or for their promotion. I just want them to get into the habit of continuous learning and that they actually enjoy it. What I don't want to happen is that the personal development plan and the learning that they're doing in regards to their plan is just a burden to them. Because as soon as I leave, they're going to stop doing this because it's not going to be fun. The fifth step that I always strive to keep is maintain clarity in uncertain situations. Uncertainty is constant in life, in leadership, and in business as well. And what I achieve with clarity is that the uncertain situations actually become a lot more certain, and that my people, my team can adapt and overcome any of the issues or challenges that we're facing. What my team also goes for their personal issues and professional issues. I make sure and I strive to resolve all of those and give my team the clarity that they need. And the last step that I always push myself to do is to being comfortable with being uncomfortable. As a leader, that's a constant. I'm always going to be uncomfortable because there are always situations that I haven't anticipated that are going to push me through and past my limits and that I always have to overcome. Because if I'm not going to overcome them, I can't expect my team to overcome them as well. This is also one of the things with leading by example. So this is my first video that I'm actually filming outside, and I'm extremely uncomfortable with this. First is that I've never done it before. It's stretching my boundaries and what I'm comfortable with. Secondly is that there are people around me, and I'm super uncomfortable right now filming with people just walking by me and actually looking at me. Hey, am I crazy? Am I not crazy? What am I doing? This is one of the things of my imposter syndrome. As you were able to see, there's a person there, and I actually just stopped talking because I'm still so uncomfortable doing this. But I'm pushing myself. I'm making sure that I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the more I do this, the more I'm going to be better at it and the more comfortable I'm going to become.